Hi everyone! I love video games, and one thing that baffles me is the incredible Steam reviews of games that I enjoy. Some reviews are 5,000 character essays, while others are, well, let's say some are not that in-depth and not that accurate. So let's put aside personal feelings and try and analyze some Back4Blood takes to see if the game is that bad and if the hate is deserved. You see, you would expect a video game to be judged on its performance, story, pace, visuals, not so much the graphics, but also the art direction they went with, how inspired the world is, etc. And yet, when I see that most negative reviews focus on many points and arguments that take place outside the game, surrounding it, I am disappointed. Take this first review for instance. Go play Left 4 Dead or Payday 2. All 3,000 plus negative reviews have already what I needed to be said. Dead community, meager content, and bad game launch. This is a waste of money and is a cash grab by an intellectually and morally bankrupt development team. This comment starts off great with an appeal to popularity fallacy. It's not because many people dislike the game that it sucks. The majority isn't always right. Then the user makes 3 claims: the game is dead, lacks content, and had launched in a bad state. Now, as you'll come to realize, I'm often late to the party and play games when they're already in their finished state. And while we cannot excuse a AAA studio from releasing fully priced games in unfinished state, I believe games will be played more so in the following years than in the first months, so we should judge the product in its final form. It is often advised nowadays to never pre-order anything and wait and see if it's worth your bucks. In its finished state, it doesn't lack content. Left 4 Dead 2 overall is 57 levels, 37 without the original Left 4 Dead campaigns. Back4Blood, however, is 51 levels. If we are only focusing on the number of playable levels, then Back4Blood isn't far behind Left 4 Dead 2, especially if we take into account that Left 4 Dead 2 is essentially 2 games in one. You could say Back4Blood reuses locations, and yes, some areas around Fort Hope in the first act do start at the same place. But as it was the case in Hard Rain, it is transformative enough. Back4Blood has more guns, customizable cards, skins, attachments. It's hard to say it has less content than Left 4 Dead. Then of course I hear you saying, but mods, they are a huge part of Left 4 Dead 2. Yes, Left 4 Dead 2 allows modding, and Left 4 Dead 1 didn't, by the way. But it is community made. Mods have always been additional content made by fans, bonus content, not official one. Even called Stream and the Final Stand, which I counted in the number of official levels in Left 4 Dead 2, came from modders and the community. Mods are great, but the base official game will always be the main product sold in stores. The COD Zombies community also has many mods, and while mods exist to fix bugs in World at War Zombies, to allow solo players to complete main quests in some levels, the fact stays that in the official on-disc experience, it was impossible. So this point of no or few content is disproved. The dead community, however, is a valid complaint, and we'll come back to it later. Speaking of mods, let's watch another completely different review. I actually played this game for nearly 500 hours. I'm giving this a thumbs down due to the fact that the game has been abandoned. If you want to play the base game, fine, but don't bother getting passes, since the developers immediately dropped the game as soon as they fulfilled their obligations. You're better off playing Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 due to the modability. Now again, Left 4 Dead 1 doesn't support mods, not officially. Back4Blood also has some bootleg mods. Now the don't buy passes thing, I don't know. Season passes maybe not, but please do buy the DLCs. They complete the game. His main gripe seems that they abandoned the game, which is going to be our next point, echoed by oh so many people. However, you might have noticed, this guy put almost 500 hours into a game he doesn't recommend. Ah, gamers. Now, the announcement that Turtle Rock Studios stopped working on Back4Blood did come with its few jokes and puns, like it should be wait for sale, the game is now officially Left 4 Dead, and also more jokes like gone for good, the game is now Left 4 Dead. More seriously, the announcement that they would stop working on the game was disastrous for players and led to losing all faith in Turtle Rock, like in this comment. I saw the news, installed 45 GB of this into my drive, started the game, idled for 0.2 hours, then came back to write this to let you guys know that Turtle Rock has officially dropped support for Back4Blood. Then I uninstalled it and went back to playing games not run by greedy morons. To that I say, just play the game maybe? Why would you post a review of something if you've never played it? So the game has more or less the same amount of levels as a video game that was updated for 10 years. They announce it is complete in less than 2 years since release. And people are annoyed? I understand that the issue lies in the live service idea of season passes. But while many people thought it inevitable that the game will get microtransactions added into it, they didn't. Again, if you see the game in its full state, it does not underdeliver. Next comment. An unbalanced mess that tries to impress by being made by the Left 4 Dead team, while in reality barely anyone from that team worked on it. Another similar comment would be, I spent over $100 at launch with the promise of much more than what I got by the end. They advertised a year of content, they advertised it as a Left 4 Dead 3 basically, at least a spiritual successor, and all this led to unhappy fans basically. They were expecting something else. The problem is people got mad at the marketing, which, even though is annoying and to some a scummy practice, it does not play a part in the gameplay. They could have promised 100 campaigns and chapters happening on the moon. It would still not matter, as the final game is in itself a full experience. And now for the second to last topic of this video. 3 comments on studio reputation. If the publisher is Turtle Rock Studios, do not buy any of their games. Made by the creators of Evolve. After years of supporting Turtle Rock Studios, I will actively say that this company is a scam. They enjoy getting petty by removing content from their games that they promise. They did this in Evolve when it was free to play. These 3 reviews are about studio reputation, which is the furthest thing from an in-game experience. The context of the game and your opinion of the studio doesn't have anything to do with the gameplay loop. Now, your assumption on the morals and goals of the developers can be reflected in the game, but then just develop your criticism gameplay-wise instead of reducing an experience to the aura of a developing team. The reputation of a game studio leads to more or less sales, but once the game is finished, I believe every outside drama isn't relevant anymore. You can hate Blizzard, for instance, and their in-house practices, but if the game is good, it is. Differentiating the art from its creator, so to speak. And now for the fun part! Right before we conclude, the disgusting nuclear hot take! Perfect example of modern gaming. Rehash successful title that has following start for sequel and then under-deliver. I knew it wasn't going to be the same without Valve. And just like so many games now, it's just a phoned-in cash grab. This opinion that the game is nothing but a lazy cash grab is not that uncommon, and I believe it is a baseless jab at the passionate developers. Look at these animations and 3D models. Do they seem lazy? Is the soundtrack lazy? The art direction and map design knocked it out of the park. You wouldn't find anything similar in Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. To recap, these are the commonly found criticism of the game. It's not Left 4 Dead, it has no mods, scammy promotion, lack of content, and dead community, no player base. Let's take them one by one. Not Left 4 Dead, yeah, no shit, the game is untitled Left 4 Dead 3. No mods, again, mods are bonus content made by the community, so no mod support in my opinion is not a negative. Scammy promotion, well, any promotional material, trailers, promises do not matter once you're in game, it's outside context. Lack of content, well, we've already debunked that extensively. There is even Trail of the Worm, a recent mode in which you play 4 random maps, which adds in the replayability of the game. Dead community, no player base. Well, yeah, this one is actually an okay argument, because good luck finding an online match with random players. Good luck doing that in 2023. It has like what, 2,000 players every day? Whereas Left 4 Dead 2 is averaging 20,000. So yeah, the community is kind of dead, but there is one simple fix with that, just play with friends. You can also play solo, the game supports offline mode, which is great. One actual argument that could be added, which people forget, is the versus mode. It is way different from the versus mode you're used to in Left 4 Dead. Versus matches don't take place in the campaign maps. Instead, it's a sort of versus survival mode, which is not as enticing, I will admit. My point is, you can actually criticize the game, but just put forth real arguments. To summarize, this game is not Left 4 Dead 3, yes. Once you accept that, you realize it's worth something. Although the price tag is a bit too much, I will agree that $60 is way too much. Please buy this game on sale. It's worth, what, 20 bucks, 30 bucks at most, and play with the DLCs. They greatly improve the content of the game, the gameplay loop, and make it more replayable. So it's too expensive, and it has few players. And yet, is it a bad game? No. At the very least, it's a decent, working, good game. Thank you. I'll leave you with good reviews, and see you next time for another analysis.